And just like we called it last week, Patriots.
Man, right? Remember when we were here and we talked about the Patriots win? We just want to remind you.
We just want to remind you because you know we called it. And
I think we said 13-3 too.
Yeah. I mean, crazy. Defense. You know, that's all we talked about on the whole episode. We barely got to the movie.
Yeah.
But enough about that and more about the Super Bowl episode we gave you guys.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that before we get into today's episode.
Friday.
Last week's episode for the Super Bowl.
Night Lights. Friday Night Lights, baby.
Friday
we did
Night
it.
Lights, one of the best football movies, if not the best. What do you think, Baba?
I liked it. You know what I wasn't expecting?
What?
Just how it was shot and it was paced.
Good.
Yeah, like you were telling me the story and I didn't the way I saw it was different than the way the movie was. Right? But the way the movie was great.
Did you think it was going to look, because it looks like it's from straight up 2000 something now. And it doesn't look like 1980s football. I'm talking about the way they're playing football. Like the cuts, the moves, the plays, all that shit.
And you know what? It wasn't even because the football was intense. You're right about the football being intense. The football was
and it's not, even the Nike, like everything they're wearing is very now.
Yeah. No, what surprised me was just how it was shot, like the way the camera was always shaky.
Yeah.
And it was like even though like it was, besides the football outside, that was mostly just talking. But it was still, even the talking was in action sequences.
It was all gritty.
It was very
Never
gritty.
once was it gritty.
It was always,
not gritty.
It was always, it did a good job, I felt like, the way it was shot, because the way it shook, it made you feel like what it would feel like to be 17 and have that much pressure on you.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Everything is unstable, everything is fast, everything is quick. It very much felt like an action movie.
It was. I would say it was.
If you were to tell me Friday Night Lights was an action movie,
because the pacing, just only because of the pacing, and the pacing gets you to the next action sequence constantly, which is a football sequence. But it gets you the pacing. You're never like waiting on it, because from the beginning of the movie it's practice. I mean, they're getting ready for practice, and then he gets hurt, and then they're getting ready for, and then there's a couple games, in the games they lose, and then the games where they win, and then straight to the Midland League game, and then straight to the playoffs, and then straight to the championship. Like there's never a big gap in between.
Yeah. I like that. The football was most of the movie.
Yeah.
And then the scenes, which made the scenes in between the football way more important. And writing wise and directing wise, and just killed it.
Acting.
The scenes that they chose were very important.
Yeah.
I mean, the Tim McGraw scenes were just heartbreaking for that guy.
Tim McGraw killed it, dude.
Yeah. Tim McGraw can act.
2 for 2, buddy. Tim McGraw, you are 2 for 2. I think you're also only
in football, high school football related movies.
Keep going, man. Keep that streak going. Every 10 years, you're in one big high school football movie.
Yeah,
keep it alive, bro.
2024. Let's see what you got, Tim.
I would. Would you be surprised,
dude,
if he's in the next big high school football movie?
Yeah,
because there's one coming. It's coming.
Yeah. What? He's been a dad twice. You got to be the coach next.
Got to be the. You know what? Still be a dad, dude. You can
be a coach who's a dad.
And that's actually always an interesting drama. If the son's you know what I mean? The star player, and there's always a backup.
Or if the son doesn't want to play sports.
The son's a star who doesn't even want to play. College scholarships on the line, and he just wants to fucking paint, dude.
Yeah, yeah. The painter, the coach's son. That's what you call that movie.
Coach's son who painted.
The coach's son who painted.
That's what you think. 9 Academy Awards.
What you think movie titles are? Just a quick summation of the plot. It's the coach's son who painted.
The Blind Side. It's just about a blind black guy.
Yeah.
On the sidelines.
You know what? Doing this podcast has made me realize, because you know how we always talk about like it's a cool and rare thing when the good guy doesn't win.
Yes.
The good guy doesn't win a lot in movies. It turns out.
No, not. Yeah, that's why. Well, good. It's only because we're like, man, what a good movie. Good guy lost 9 times out of 10. Yeah. Whenever we're talking about how good a movie is, good guy lost. Whenever we're talking about how a movie did better, he probably won.
Yeah. I mean, there's a. It just made me realize, like, oh man, the good guy actually does lose a lot.
Not everybody's. That's why Rudy is a special movie. He wins.
He wins. That's
big. A movie where he wins big, and it makes you like cry because you're just like, he wasn't even supposed to win that big.
Yeah.
He wasn't
even supposed to get there, and he won.
Yeah. Whereas this movie is like, what the fuck is happening? They lost, and then it's over.
Oh god, that frantic comeback at the end.
You know that's not what really happened, right? I told you what really happened.
Wow, what really happened?
What really happened? They met Dallas Carter in the semifinals and got the fuck kicked out of them, like 50-something to 3.
That makes sense.
Because that's real life, people.
Yeah,
all right?
Yeah.
You want to know what happens in real life? You meet Dallas Carter, they beat the shit out of you.
Yeah. They did win the next year, though.
Yeah, no, that happened. Yeah, that's real.
That happened, yeah. I looked that up. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
No, the Dallas Carter thing, Dallas Carter was a fucking phenom team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, South, 9 Division I athletes. That's insane. For one high school, that's insane.
It's insane. You know what's crazy? It's like insane, but like that shit happens, bro. But it's always with the programs that they win. They won like 5 titles in a row or some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's always with those programs.
And they're able to recruit.
Yeah, we're not even able to recruit. Like, all right. I mean, you know Darren Bates, great example, right? Okay. My freshman, Darren Bates, linebacker for the Tennessee Titans. All right, one of my friends. When we were in high school, we played football together at Christian Brothers. My freshman through junior year. Mm-hmm. Senior year, he transferred along with 2 of our other best players. They running back, Eric White, the highlight guy I showed you, the monster, and then our best offensive lineman. All 3 went off. I mean, well, Eric went to JUCO and then dropped out, but the other kid who went to go play a D1, small D1 ball, starting no lineman at North Alabama. You know what I mean? Like went on, and then Darren went on to be Darren. You know what I'm saying? But they went to this other school in Mississippi called Olive Branch. They transferred there. For that reason, to be a part of a gigantic, because they left a gigantic program to be an even bigger one. Okay, you know what I mean? Like a program where they were already getting. It wasn't like they were getting college offers at high school. Yeah, you know what I mean?
But they were like, we want to make a run at a state championship.
No, we make runs every year at state championship. No, it's they wanted to just be. It's like
more prestigious
like
program?
this. Yeah, it's like nigga, I'm leaving the Heat to go play for the Lakers.
Okay.
Not even the Lakers. I'm leaving the Heat to go play for the Celtics. Not even. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah, nigga, I'm leaving a good program to go play for a historic program. Okay. I'm leaving. I left Texas Tech. Mm-hmm. Now I play for like Georgia.
Okay.
I was at Texas Tech, dog. I could have went pro.
Yeah.
But now I play for Georgia. Then get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it looks better.
It looks just a little better on your resume. That's
okay.
It's one of those kind of things. So that does happen. And so the schools like that, you get 9 times. So you're getting your homegrown players who are just happen to be from that neighborhood, of course.
Yeah.
And then the reason you're all staying so good is because you're also getting these players.
Poach these players from other teams.
You're not even really poaching because you're just there.
Oh, they want to come to you.
Yeah, people want to come to you.
Yeah.
You're the program sending off everybody to college.
Yeah, and
you're doing a little poaching, but not like illegal. Are they like sending letters? No. Are you rubbing shoulders? Maybe. Yeah, a little rubbing shoulders.
Okay.
Your shoulders get rubbed.
All right. What else?
Any high school? You know what? Let's stop. Y'all saw it. Watch the movie.
Yeah.
If you want a goddamn review, just go watch the fucking movie, nigga. Or watch me explaining the movie. That's the movie. Hassan, I have another question.
What?
Do you have any football questions from this movie? Did you see this movie and be like, what's real? What's not? Is it this? Like anything like that?
About the actual game, not really, because they didn't like go over strategy that much, or you know what I mean. They show action shots and you sort of. But what was
more about the storyline? Yeah, life. Yeah.
What really got to me, and you hear these stories, but I think this movie did a good job of portraying it. It's just like how it's some of these people's only thing.
Yeah.
That they ever cared about in life.
Bro, remember when the sheriff pulls up on him at the 7-Eleven?
The sheriff has a ring.
Nigga, he pulls up just to say that.
Yeah.
It's nothing else.
Yeah.
Just pulled up just to be like, hey, all right, get you one of these, boys. A lot of pressure, dog. That's a lot. And that's also a lot of pressure you putting on your own life of like, you a sheriff. Your life went okay for you, but you still like, this was it.
The saddest part was just everyone was telling them how this is it. This is the best part of their life.
Yeah. His dad told him that, dude.
His dad, the guy who made him hold the baby.
Yep, he told him that right in the beginning of the movie. Their coach pretty much emphasized that a lot until the end of the movie, where he was like, "It's not. It's just about your family and your friends."
Yeah,
But
God, and it's like they've been conditioned their whole lives to like, this is it.
But you have to if you're gonna be a winner, like that level. You have to.
And it's just over at 17.
Or you're one of the few.
You're one of the few, but for the 3 guys, for the main characters, it was over at 17.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, dude, I played D2 ball for 2 years, and I'm one of the few.
Yeah.
And I didn't even just because of stand-up, but like, I'm one of the few of the thing. Let alone the guys who keep playing D1, or some shit,
and then go on to go.
That's what I'm saying. And then one of the few to be my friend, like Darren.
Yeah.
And then to be even, let's take it another step further. You make it to the NFL. 9 times out of 10, you played a year, maybe 2.
Yeah, you don't make it that long.
My friend's been playing 5 years. That's fucking an anomaly. He's going on his 6th year this year. That is even crazier.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, bro, football's a motherfucker, dude. Such high contact sport. Such high contact.
Yeah, just the last the scene that's just stuck with me the most from the movie is at the very end. They're watching the kids play.
Yeah.
After the season's over, and they're like, "I'll miss this. I'll miss this the most. I'll miss this the most. I'll miss this the most." It's like, oh fuck, dude.
The lights, man. You do miss those lights. There's something about those goddamn lights being on, and you know it's for you, and you hear, and you fucking in that locker room, bro, and you feel the energy of like you can't even see them, but you know there's 2,000 motherfucking people pulling in this goddamn stadium right now. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people tailgating, nigga. Like, and then you walk out the locker room, nigga. You're not even just you. People are grown folks. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? For you. That shit, bro. Then you go warm up, nigga, and the other team's warming up on the other side, and there's just that, like, it's about to go fucking down right now. That feeling, man, son. I mean, thank God I do stand-up, because that's the only that's the closest. It ain't that, obviously, because, I mean, telling jokes is adrenaline rush, you know that, but it ain't.
About to kill someone.
We about to strap on to see who prepared harder for real. Who's the better team for real? Not like, oh, you know, I don't know no, like we're about to go find out who's better, me or you. Right now, today. And that shit, man. Oh, dude, that shit. Yeah, the lights. That's what the lights, that's the feeling. Because the lights is just, but stand-up lights are great. It's like the closest. Because I mean, you know, that stand-up is just the best. Because you say a punchline under them lights that hits, it's just like, it's the same feeling, nigga. Bro, you say a punchline that hits, it's the same thing. It's the same feeling as throwing a touchdown pass, bro. No bullshit. When you say and you know what I'm talking about, when you say a new punchline that, wow, and then you hit him with another tag, nigga, that's literally throwing a touchdown pass, and then you and your boys celebrate. You know what I mean? It's the adrenaline rush is the same.
And that's Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights. Beaners, we're back.
Yeah.
We're back. We're back. You guys ready to fuck Hassan up today with a movie? I am. Hassan? Real quick. Tell me what happens in the movie, in the feature film, Footloose.
Oh, okay. You know, I hear about this movie a lot. Okay, so I know.
The most scientific looking, like you're about to say something for real.
Yeah. This is one of those movies that's just in culture.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, for real. Let's see. It's about
today.
This town where it's illegal to dance. And why is it illegal to dance? Baby, I don't know.
Why?
Why? I don't know, because it's probably an old, stifly town. It's probably religion has something to do with it. It's like a conservative place where dancing is forbidden by the Lord. Mm-hmm. But there's this one guy.
Tell me about this one guy.
Who takes a
Do you know who he is, the actor? Or no?
Is it Kevin Costner? Kevin Bacon? Kevin Costner. One of the Kevins. It's the Kevins.
Kevin takes a knee.
Yeah, Kevin takes a knee in the form of dance.
Okay,
yeah.
the form of dance. In the form of interpretive dance.
It's a form of dance. He takes a yeah.
So then what?
This probably starts illegal underground dancing.
Holy shit, like Fight Club?
Yeah, like Fight Club. No one it's Fight Club but with dance. Yeah.
And at the end he finds out it was really
just him. He finds out, you know, the whatever girl he's romancing is really him as well. Is it the
Tyler Durden.
Yeah, he's yeah. And then he slowly wins the town over with the power of dance.
Dude. 100%. He got it 100% right. I mean, when is he not?
Fight Club, but with dancing. Is that? That's what
actually is, though. All right, I'm gonna tell you something. I've only seen this movie one time. I saw this movie as a younger kid. My dad. I watched it with my dad, and then I watched.
Okay, wait. So you watch movies?
Yeah.
Like 80 million times.
Yeah.
I've walked out there and seen you watch movies. I know you.
I watched Incredibles 2 for the third time last night.
Yeah. I know. I watched you watch part of that again. Why did you only watch Footloose once?
No, I've seen this one of those movies. I know all the. It's like Breakfast Club. Like I've seen Footloose without seeing it. I've seen even though I've only seen it once, I've still seen it a million times because it's referenced in
everything.
Yeah. Everything. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a Breakfast Club or some shit, or a Top Gun, or any of those kind of movies where it's just like you saw. If
you know. Before I saw Top Gun, I knew the volleyball scene.
You knew the hits, man.
Bruce died.
Come on, baby. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you know there's Iceman. You know that you know that like there's like all this shit. So
fun. Real quick, what a fun movie Top Gun was. I really wish we could do it on this podcast.
First off, you think for all these listeners out there, you think I brought up Top Gun for no goddamn reason? Let's get into this. So, like I'm playing out here, dog.
Yeah, that's one movie I wish we could do for this podcast.
Me too, buddy. Yeah. Me too. Check out an episode of, is it on YouTube? The Whistle Stop episode of Top Gun?
Of the tabled version?
Yeah.
No, I wish.
That's not on YouTube?
No. There's video of it somewhere, but we did something a long time ago with Top Gun, and it was great. Shout out to Ryan Hicks.
Shout out to Ryan Hicks. Hopefully one day we can recreate it or do something with it, because that idea shouldn't be wasted. Anyway, to the Footloose.
Yes.
Movie starts immediately. Immediately, bro. It starts. No, nothing. Just you see hardcore 80s music. Hear hardcore 80s music. White pants and shoes tapping, right? Mm-hmm. Like tapping, right? And you see, and then it cuts to like another pair of jeans and like cowboy boots, and they're like doing some like dance moves, right? Credits start rolling. Then a woman's heels, then another pair of shoes, and then it keeps going. Now I gotta cut loose. Footloose.
I know the song.
Kick off your Sunday shoes. And then just this for a while. All the credits, all right? This is for like maybe 3 minutes. You know, Footloose comes across the screen. Mm-hmm. And this goes for a while. You know how like movies used to start like this, all right? Mm-hmm. So finally, shots of mountains and fields, farmland. Okay?
Okay.
You hear someone preaching while you get shots of this town, this small town. Okay? And you just hear, God is testing us. God is testing us, you know? And then we cut to the church and it's full, packed, all right? Pastor's preaching and it's actor John Lithgow.
Oh, wow.
Nigga from Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah, and I know John Lithgow.
Animal Rise of Planet of the Animal Apes.
Yeah, that one.
Animal Apes movies.
Yeah, Two Apes, Too Furious.
Two Apes, Too Furious. He was great. I love that shit.
He's a famous actor.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he was Winston Churchill. Recently.
Yeah, he was.
He was the first American guy I've ever seen play a British guy.
Yeah, bro, he's a beast actor, dog.
Yeah, that's some beast shit right there.
He's great in this. Yeah. So he's talking about, you know, and he's preaching like a black preacher, you know what I'm saying? And rock music is obscene. And it's, you know, what is the devil is in that music? And, you know, he's saying all this shit. And then while he's saying this, they cut to the crowd and we see our lead, Kevin Bacon. A young Kevin Bacon. Beautiful. Very handsome. And he looks right. He looks up when he's talking about rock music being obscene. He's like that kind of thing. Oh yeah, you know, you know. So
80s cocky white guy face.
Oh, all day. He invented it. Dude.
Okay, this is where it starts.
This is where it starts, baby. That's how good this is. Okay. Oh, every single thing in this movie is like a timeless capsule shot.
Yeah. So
you know what I mean?
Breakfast Club.
Yeah. So not as good a movie.
Okay.
Way funnier.
Is this a comedy?
No.
Okay.
But when I say nigga, I was dying. So the preacher, this movie's crazy, bro. So the preacher, this nigga. Like, whoa, watching this as an adult. The fuck? So,
okay.
The preacher's talking about how it's porn and it's all nonsense, this kind of music.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And Kevin is making eye contact with a girl across the way. And the girl's like staring at him being cute, and it's a young Sarah Jessica Michelle Parker.
You mean Sarah Jessica Parker?
Yeah. I'm thinking of Jessica Michelle Singleton.
Yeah. I had an extra Michelle, but I get it.
Yeah, so Sarah Jessica Parker, young.
That's crazy.
She's not the lead, though. She is the friend. Because he's making eye contact with her and she's into him, but then it cuts to you see he's really looking at the girl next to her who's painting her nails, not paying attention to him.
Okay.
But it's crazy how you do not recognize the lead.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to drop an even bigger name.
Watching this movie now, you're like, oh, why? That's weird that they showed the lead and then they focused on that other person I don't know. You know what I mean? Because I know that lady. That lady's definitely familiar.
Like really famous.
Yeah, I like the moment you see her, you're like, it ain't no, you ain't like, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know she was in this. It's like, whoa, but she's also has she's the side friend.
Yeah, that's really crazy. I wouldn't have guessed.
This movie just getting started.
I feel like every movie you see Sarah Jessica Michelle Singleton Parker in, that you see that's not the Sex and the City movie is a bit of a surprise. Like, oh shit, she's in this one?
Yeah. And this is like a classic. So it's like, wow, I didn't know she was in this. That's
she's
crazy.
Just so she's like the face of Sex and the City, right? So it's like, that's,
bro, that's
a bad thing.
That's how you stay famous forever, though, bro. You in timeless shit.
Yeah.
Footloose, Sex and the City. Like, those are timeless things, man, that are going to be around forever.
Have you ever watched Sex and the City?
The movies?
The show?
No, movies, yes.
How are the movies?
Amazing.
Okay.
First one's amazing. I didn't like the second one. First one was amazing. Okay. I mean, but then again, I'm sure there's lots of people like, oh, you watch the shows are amazing. Like, well, I didn't watch it, nigga.
Yeah. Fuck you guys.
The niggas all the niggas, I'm assuming, who are saying this.
Who are we mad at?
I'm black men.
Such
things about Sex in the City.
Oh God.
So damn, we talking about Footloose. Hey, focus.
You know, I somehow think this is all okay based on where this movie is already headed.
Amazing, dude. God, I get also why it's timeless because it's like, oh, this was. I see why it was amazing back then because it's amazing now. If this movie came out right now, you'd be like, yo, this is the dopest movie I've ever seen. Bro. Get the fuck out of here. This is the what? All right. So the pastor. God, I can't do this. So he's preaching, right? About how it's all, you know, it's porn and it's nonsense, and that's what Kevin's making eye contact with the girl. And then so the pastor is going off on how God is testing us all, and he's testing himself, the pastor, and he welcomes the challenge.
Right.
It's really weird. He's like, I welcome the challenge, God. Looking up to him, I was like, bro, that's crazy to say, dude. You're challenging him? Okay.
What are you, Goku?
Yeah, bro. Or the nigga that made the Titanic?
Yeah. Yeah, fuck that guy. We got you.
That joke was written 2 years ago. No. So they start singing "What a Friend We Have in Jesus," right? As a congregation, you know, what a friend we have in Jesus. And then there's a great shot of like this very 80s shot because it's nothing to do with the movie, but it's just a shot of like a dad because they zoom in on and it's a dad waking up his son, and the son's like. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, oh, it's didn't need it at all, but it's a really great shot, and I get why he kept it.
Okay,
because it makes it real.
It just looks good.
Looks good.
You gotta keep a good shot.
Yeah, and it just made it a little more like, oh, that is 100% what would be happening in church right at that moment.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't the dad, man. He's just like, hey, wake up, man. He's like, you know, and it's like, yeah. So the pastor and the first lady introduce themselves. They're outside of the church now, and they're introducing themselves to the McCormicks,
right? Which
is Kevin Bacon and his mom. Okay. Right. And the mom is saying, hey, this is her son, Ren McCormick, right? And she's like, welcome, you know, we're glad you guys came. They're clearly new in town. You know, they've been there like not long at all. And the girl that he was looking at runs up. The girl that's painting her nails, and like all her friends, they all run up. And she's like, Daddy, Daddy. Pastor's daughter. Okay. Daddy, Daddy. And then he introduces like all the daughter and all her friends to the McCormicks, and he like kind of like, you know, just kind of like nods. And then she says, hey, me and the girls are gonna go get a soda. Is that okay? You know, because that's like, at this time period, that was like a thing. Going to get a soda, it's like going to like a arcade, I guess. You know what I'm saying, nigga? Okay. Like going to get a soda. Like they went to like, had to go to like a drive-in burger place.
Where kids hang out.
Yeah, all right?
Okay.
So he was like, oh, it's a school night. And then she was like, oh, I'm not going to be out late, I promise, blah, blah, blah. And then they run off, and as they're running off, they're talking about how hot the new guy is. But the pastor's daughter is like that's Sarah Jessica and shit. Right. But the pastor's daughter is like, you know, like, oh, he's all right. You know what I'm saying? So the girls are now driving in the car, right? And they're gossiping, they're just talking, laughing, tripping, having a good time, they're talking shit. And the girl says, oh no, look behind us, it's the Barfmobile. And then a guy pulls up behind him and rock music starts playing, right? And it's this like kind of southern white dude, right? And they're talking shit to each other. Like they clearly know each other, they're friends. Right. They're like, they all go to high school. Like, oh, whatever. And they start racing like down this highway, right? So the pastor's daughter leans out the window, bro. And she throws her bag in his car. Like they're all like, oh, she throws her bag in his car. Then she starts reaching out the car. They're going full fucking speed, bro, down the highway.
Right.
Just reaching out the car, and then the girls are like, hey, what are you doing? Like, hey, you know, hey, stop, Ariel, stop. Hey, this isn't funny. Like, okay. And then she starts reaching farther and farther, and she's like, really gets out. And then the guy, like, finally she grabs a hold of like the truck. And now the dude driving is like, he's mimicking everything the pastor said at church earlier. God's testing you, Ariel. He's testing you. Come on. And bro, this movie gets intense as fuck so fast. You're like, yeah, dog. Like it jumps. Like when me and Sam were like, you're like, oh my God. Because it's great. Like, it's like, whoa, they shot this really real.
Yeah, this is insane. Why is this happening?
Don't know. So and the girls are screaming like, "Get Ariel, stop, blah, blah, blah." And the guy's cheering it on, blah, blah, blah. And then you see a 16-wheeler coming from way far away. Like you can see it, but they don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? And she is now standing like in between the cars, like foot on one thing while it's driving. You know? And their friends are like, "Ariel, stop, Ariel, oh my God, stop. You know what I mean? And the guy finally notices a 16-wheeler. Yeah. And that nigga, like it's coming up, like now it's close.
Right.
And they're like, Ariel. And he's like, get down. And then she looks up and she notices. And then, and then last second he pulls her in the window. Both cars spin out. And then like, the camera focuses on their car. And then her and the dude just start laughing hysterically. And then they make out. Her and the pastor daughter.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess that makes sense.
I don't know if I've ever said this on this podcast.
I guess that's
But, bro, this bitch is a psycho.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've said that about any character.
No. But, like, this is her. She's just a psycho.
Bro, they let you know from the jump. This bitch kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's very crazy.
Also, very pastor's daughter.
Yeah.
I grew up in the church, so I know pastors' kids always
are always the most
always,
rebellious.
It 100% of the time it's crazy.
I mean, I guess you just don't want to be your parents, right? So,
and you're at the most stifled place of all time. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. So you gotta do a lot to feel a lot.
Baba hitting you with the tunes today, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, yeah, I mean, so there's
soft jazz.
There's some good Baba tunes today. Yeah, some Baba jazz. Nice.
That's when you drop dimes. It's some Baba jazz.
Some Baba jazz.
So the pastor is cut back to the house. Pastor's still grilling Kevin Bacon. Now they're at a house, like the pastor's house, right? And they're having like a gather, like dinner and shit. And everybody's there from the church,
right?
And other parents, like, the pastor's grilling them about all this stuff, and they're like, "Hey, the boy's been here 8 hours. Leave him alone." You know, they start talking about. One of the parents was talking about what's being taught at the school and like how bad it is, blah, blah, blah. And you hear about this new book that they're trying to let them read, this Slaughterhouse 5. And they start complaining about the Slaughterhouse 5 book. And then like the Kevin Bacon guy looks up and he goes, "I read it." And then they all look at him. And then they're looking at him, they're like, you mean you read it? And he goes, "Yeah, it's a classic." And then they go, "Tom Sawyer is a classic." And then he's like, and then it just cuts. Right? Yeah, right?
Yeah. Slaughterhouse 5 v. Tom Sawyer. One of the biggest debates in all. Really the Tupac and Biggie of its time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At the late night burger spot, right? Like at the spot, the girls, they all pull up to the place and they're yelling. The friends are yelling. They pull up to the other Ariel in the Chuck dude's car and like, "Oh my God, Ariel, why would you do that? You're fucking crazy. Oh my God, you're so stupid." This is the Sarah Jessica girl. She's like, "Oh my God, you're an idiot. Why would you do that?" And she's like, "Ah." And then they're like, they all go in to get food. And then the Ariel girl's like, "Hey, get me some fries." And they're all like, "Fuck you. Like, we're not getting you shit, Right. She's like, "Oh, you better get me some fries." And then she pulls out a radio and she cuts on some music, like loud, right? Like a boombox. And the dude was like, "Oh, you better cut that music down before your dad comes. He's going to bust your ass if he hears that." And she's like, "Oh, whatever." And she cuts it up really loud. And then it shows the entire restaurant just like, nobody's dancing for real, but everybody's like,
yeah, everybody's just
like, what's, yeah, oh yeah. Man, this is awesome. Like, what's this? You know what I'm saying? So, like, and then the song is just crazy 80s, and all the dance moves that people are doing are like really crazy. Like it shows the bird cook. Everybody, even though it's like apparently nobody's allowed to dance. Everybody can do it though. It's interesting.
That means everyone's practicing at home.
Clearly.
Yeah, with like timing and like in groups. Probably.
And like making sure they're perfect at it. So he like. Everybody's doing that, and then you see everybody dancing, people are killing it, and then then of course someone hits the button. Music stops. Camera pans up. It's the father. It's the pastor.
It's the pastor.
John Lithgow. All right, and everyone's looking, And he's like, all like, and his daughter's like, and then he goes, your mother was worried you didn't have enough money. And then he gives her a couple $, and he leaves. Good scene. It was legit. Like he handled it like he doesn't break. He's just like, and then he just walks off.
Yeah.
Like,
but he knows his daughter's a sinner now,
right?
Yeah.
So, bro, this is nuts, dude. Come on.
Yeah. This is pretty. Like you just have to accept a lot.
It's also like really used to happen. I think.
I don't think this really used to happen.
Was there ever not illegal?
No,
you sure?
No, not like this.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty
look
sure.
It up, nigga.
Yeah.
I believe in America enough that there might have been illegal dancing in some places.
Yeah, not in the 1900s. I don't think.
Well, this is definitely this is like 1980 something.
Yeah, they have cars. Yeah, it's clearly maybe like
80s music.
Yeah.
Footloose was playing in the beginning.
Yeah, no, but it's a movie. You know what I mean?
So
this is also anyways, go on.
Oh. Yeah, we can debate this forever. So this is one of those movies that we could get deep into.
Yeah, for no reason.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so right then it cuts to Ren. He's getting ready for school right the next day, and you see him like dressing, and he's like fly. He has like tie on and shit, and his mom's like, "Oh my god, you can dress like David Bowie when you're off in college, because that's who he's dressed like. It's like David Bowie or some shit, right?" And then he laughs, and he's like, "Oh whatever, I look good." And then he pulls into school, and he's got like a yellow Beetle, like an old school Beetle, right? He's blasting rock music, like blasting it,
right?
Like, and everyone is looking at him like, "What the fuck? Who's this guy?" Because you're not allowed to do that. You know what I mean? So he walks and like everyone's just staring at him, right? And then he starts walking through the hall and everybody's just kind of looking at him, and he bumps into a guy. It's a big dude. And the guy, it's the dude from Reservoir Dogs, nigga. Not, all right, you know how Mr. Pink, his son in the Reservoir Dogs.
Okay.
Him.
Okay.
A young ass him, bro. You wouldn't even really, like he's young and skinny as shit.
Okay.
So he's like a teenager probably when this, or 20s when this came out, So it's him, and they bump into each other, right? Him and Kevin Bacon. And then they start talking. He like tries to get in his face to fight him, and then Kevin Bacon starts immediately talking shit to him, and then they become friends. Like he makes him laugh. You know what I mean? So they dap up, and then he's like,
Kevin
"Oh man,
Bacon's
you're kind of cool."
Cool as shit.
He's cool, right? He's chill as fuck, bro. He's very Ferris Bueller. Very Ferris Bueller. You know what I mean? So
a little more bad boy.
A little more bad boy. You know what I mean? But cool like that. So they like dap up. He goes, "See you around." So right then he sees the pastor's daughter walking by, and she walks by him, and he goes, "Hey Ariel, it's Ariel, right?" And then she turns, and she's like, "Very good." And then she turns and walks off, and then Sarah Jessica's like, "Girl, you are on." You know what I mean? And then they just walk off, right? And she's strutting her shit, and he's kind of smiling. So him and the guy are talking outside, and they're getting cool. Like, I mean, they're talking at lunch. Him and the Willard dude is the Reservoir Dogs guy. Right. And they're getting cool at lunch, and he's telling them about how boring the town is, right? And the Willard dude's telling them how boring the town is. And then he's telling them about how cool the places back in the city were, and how he would go dance all the time and blah, blah, blah. And then how they would go to this one club with all these college girls, and the college girls would buy him beers because he would be dancing with them and shit, you know what I mean? And he tells him a story of one time he slow danced with this girl, and then eventually he took her home and he fucked the shit out of her. And the Willard dude, he's like, "Really?" He's like, "No, man, we just danced." And he's like, he just looks like heartbroken as fuck. So
that's a good joke.
Yeah, he's cool, bro. He's just chill, bro. He's real chill. Mm-hmm. So him and the guy are like, so it's got to Sarah Jessica Parker and her friends, and they're inviting him and the Willard dude to their lunch table, right?
Right.
So they come over, right? And then as they're coming over, the Willard dude's telling them how, yeah, man, but there's no dancing here. And then he's like, "What do you mean?" And then they sit down. He's like, "Yeah, dancing's illegal in this town." And he's like, "Jump back." That's what he says. I had to remember that one. Yeah. Jump back. That's what he said, bro. And then
man, no, slang
back then, dude, right?
Yeah.
Jump back. He says it normally.
Dude, we're gonna sound that retarded to people like that in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Because this podcast is fire and lit as fuck?
Yeah. Hashtag cool.
And blessed.
Yeah, blessed. I should have gone blessed. This. Do people still do this?
I don't know. We did it.
I don't know. We might be old. But I mean, we're definitely old. Sometimes I look at memes on the internet and be like, "Oh, fuck, I'm getting old."
Yeah, I don't get stuff.
I don't get stuff now. I used to get everything.
Yeah. So, as time moves on.
Yeah. Is this movie about the sadness of our mortality? Because that's how I'm feeling.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Oh, really?
You nailed it. We can stop now. I'm not even playing with you, bro. I'm not playing. Wait till we get there, but I'm not playing with you. Because okay, you can tell something bad's gonna happen in this movie, bro. Nothing bad happened yet.
Yeah,
it's coming.
Okay.
So, God, this is so funny. So they're telling him how that's been true for the last 5 years, how dancing's been illegal, and then he's like, why? And then they say a bunch of kids got killed in a car wreck. Okay, and they were out drinking and dancing, so the town blamed it on that. All right. So he's pumping gas later, and he's talking to Willard, and he's still stuck on the no dancing thing. And he's like, yo, this is crazy, blah, blah, blah. And then Willard tells him how that's the case. In a lot of towns, it's just weird like that. It is what it is. And then they get in his car, and he starts playing music. And then the Willard guy's like, man, are you rich? And he's like, what? He's like, are you rich? And he's like, no. He's like, oh, because he's like, I've never met anybody who like had music on tape. Because he had going through his music. Right. He's like, what are you talking about? You don't know any of these bands? And he's like, these are bands? And he starts asking about all these bands that are famous. And the guy's like, what are you talking about? And then he's like, man, what the hell? And he's like blasting music. And then they get pulled over by cops, right? So the cops pull him over. And they're going off on him, bro. And they're like, it's so funny. They're like, where you going, boy? Huh? Better cut that music down, boy. That jigger move music, boy. And Kevin Bacon's like, get off your hands off. You know what I mean? Like, I have a right. It's so funny. Like, come on, bro. We're not doing nothing, right? And so they're yelling at him, right? And they break his music. They break some of his tapes. Oof. Yeah. And so he's complaining to his uncle at dinner. Like the uncle, he lives with his uncle. His uncle, right? Okay. Yeah. Like his mom, like they moved from the city clearly to live with his uncle and like their family. Yeah. And so he's complaining to him at dinner, and the uncle's telling him, hey man, these cops out here ain't like these city cops. You got to be careful and watch your step out here, young man. You know what I mean? So cut to the pastor's house, and he's typing, right? It's dark. He's sitting and he's typing like in his study, and his daughter's sitting right here, and she's like reading, okay? And it's quiet, and then she goes, Daddy? She's like, I'm sorry about the other night, the music. And he goes, yes, I was surprised. I love his acting, bro, because he doesn't acknowledge, like he's just kind of typing, right? He's just like, I was surprised. And then she's like, I don't know what came over me. He goes, I can't always be with you, Ariel, and look out for you. And he's not really looking at her. He's just typing, right? And then he's listening to music. It's like some Beethoven-ass kind of shit, right? And she's like, what are you listening to? He's like, oh, it's Heimlich's fourth over the octave third. That's what he says, right? Okay. I promise you. Okay. And then she's like, oh, okay. Just like that. And then she goes, well, is this music okay? And he goes, oh, well, of course, this music's uplifting. It doesn't confuse the mind with the body. And then she goes, okay. And then she walks away. Good night, Daddy. Right? And he's like, good night. He doesn't even like address her. Right. You know what I mean? So
doesn't confuse the mind with the body. It's good. It's good logic if you want to ban dancing.
Yeah, bro. It's the only logic you got. Yeah. You gotta live on something.
If you think about it, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. If you want to live on that hill, you can live there.
You can live there.
So at the end of school the next day, she's getting in the crazy guy's car, the Ariel girl, right? And then they're pulling out, and they almost hit the new kid. They're pulling out in their Beetle, right? And they almost hit. And then the guy in the car starts talking shit to him. He goes, hey, new kid, I'm talking to you. Hey, where's your tie from? Where's your stupid tie from yesterday? He goes, I only thought pansies wore neckties. And then he goes, yeah, well, I only thought assholes used the word pansies. And everybody goes, ooh. And then his girl's like, he got you there, Chuck. And then he pulls off in his Beetle, right? And the guy's like, oh, I'm going to get that kid. And then they pull off, right? And then as they're pulling off, the other guy's telling him, hey, man, you got to look out for that guy. He's a weasel. That Chuck guy, he's nobody to play with. You know what I mean? So cuts to him, he's now at a steel mill. And he's walking and talking to the manager. And he's like trying to get a job. And the manager's asking him if he can operate all this machinery. And he's like, yeah. And then the guy gives him shit about being an outsider and how he's weird and how people are going to give him shit in this town because he's dangerous in this town and the fact that you're so different from a city. And then he's saying all this to him. And he goes, man, when can I start? Thursday? And then the guy goes, yeah, sounds okay to me. Right? And he gives him a job. Like, I like you. You know what I mean?
All right. High school steel mill worker. Checking off some crazy boxes.
In this town, it makes sense. Yeah, I don't know why, but it does make sense.
Well, yeah, the whole town's a little turned up.
They are, aren't they?
It's a turned up town, dude.
So while he was working, right? He's not working the job. He's working the job. The Ariel girl walks up. And she's like, hey, Chuck wants to see you tomorrow, 5:30. like at a certain place, right? Mm-hmm. And then she goes, if you don't show, he goes, and what if I? He goes, yeah, and what if I don't show? She goes, people are gonna know you're scared. And then she goes, and Chuck will find you anyway, you know? And she goes, trust me, you don't want that. And then she turns and leaves, right? She like struts out, and he's like, hey, yo. And then she turns, he goes, how come he sent you? And she goes, I volunteered. And she turns and walks off, and he like just smiles, right? So at a gym, because the next scene, he's at a gym, bro. He's doing full, Kevin Bacon is doing full gymnast shit. You know the thing where like,
oh, okay. Oh, okay.
While he's doing this nigga was in great shape, bro. While he's doing this, he's having a full-on conversation with the Willard dude.
Okay.
So you can tell it's like, yo, they were like, hey, Kevin, you know how to do gymnast stuff, right? And he's like, yeah. Hey, do you mind just doing, for 1,000%, they're like, hey, just for this scene, dude, just the fact that you can do it's kind of cool. And he's like, all right.
Yeah. This town's turned up, as I said earlier.
So he's doing gymnast shit. Willard's like stretching, right? And he's watching Kevin Bacon just do this shit. Just crazy. So they're having a conversation. And he's telling him about how, like, what's up with the Ariel and the Chuck girl, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, man, what's up with her? Is she tough or what? And then the Willard guy's like, no, she's just, the pastor's daughter, and she wants people to forget that. You know what I mean? So cut to the Chuck and the Ariel girl at a field, and they're putting their clothes on. They clearly just got done fucking. Like pants on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I was like, damn, this movie was rated PG, bro. PG.
Dude, the 80s were a crazy time, weren't they?
Come on, bro. This is PG-13. I'm saying no rated R movie, but this is definitely not PG.
Yeah.
Get out of here, dude. So this movie hasn't even turned all the way up yet. Like you don't even know what's about to happen, dude. Okay. So she's putting her pants on and shit, and they're like flirting. And then she's telling him about how she wants to leave and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then he calls her like, oh, you're just a small town girl. You're not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. And then she like looks at him and she gets pissed. And then she gets up and she storms off. Right? Okay. So Willard and another guy another big dude are showing Ren how to drive a tractor. Right. Like, and he's at the place, right? And then it shows the Chuck guy, he's on the other side, like with his tractor talking shit. Okay. And the Chuck guy, he's smoking weed, and Ariel's telling him to calm down on the weed, and he like just starts yelling at her. Like, don't tell me what to do, bitch. Like, he doesn't say bitch, but it's like he says everything but. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, bro, this movie's not PG. So, right. And then she's just like all quiet and nervous, right? Yeah. So cuts back to him, and they're showing him how to do like all this tractor stuff, and he's all like nervous. And then Kevin Bacon goes, man, has anybody ever died doing this? And the Willard guy's like, oh, only once. And then he's like, and then 80s music starts playing, right? And the tractors start going at each other. They're lined up. And then Ariel gives the signal, right? And then they full speed. And everyone starts cheering. And I Need a Hero starts playing. I need a hero. At the end of the night. He's gotta be strong and he's gotta be fast and he's gotta be larger than life. I need a hero. Bro, and they're like going this track while these tractors. You know what I mean?
I have no idea what you mean, but that sounds funny.
Yo, bro, yeah. I'm crying laughing. Like shots back and forth, and they're like driving these tractors at each other, playing chicken. Tractor speed. So if you're going full speed on the tractor, imagine going full speed at that speed at another one, though. Okay. Going full speed in front of nothing, you're not going fast. Yeah. Going full speed at another tractor, you probably feel like you're going 100 miles an hour.
That's fair. You know okay.
It's a big ass machine.
That's funny.
So
this is like a tractor joust.
Tractor chicken joust, dog.
Tractor, yeah.
So they're going head up, right? And then I Need a Hero's just blasting. Yeah. And then he gets nervous way before the Ren guy. And he's like, fuck this. And he goes to jump. Mm-hmm. And as he's trying to jump, he's just stuck. He's like this, right? Yeah. But you can't see what's wrong with him because the camera's like this. So you just see him just going like.
Wait, like who is this? Sorry.
The Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
Randy. So he's like, he's trying to get off. You can tell from the camera, but he's not going anywhere. Then it shows his feet and his foot is stuck. His like shoelace is stuck. And he can't get it off, right? And now everybody's like, hey, Ren, jump. Ren, jump. And then even the guy on the other tractor is like, hey, jump, you idiot. Jump! And then he starts getting nervous because now it's getting really close. And then Ren looks at him and he's like, just fuck it, like, because he's stuck anyway. And the guy's like, hey, you idiot! And then he jumps off, I need a hero! And then everybody's like, yeah! And the guy jump like his tractor like falls, like he falls in the water and shit. And then everybody jumps up and they're cheering for Ren, right? And the guy like hits the water, like classic 80s style. You know, where you're sitting like this, you're like mud, covered in mud. You know what I mean? Just that classic look of a bad guy who failed. Like, gosh, the good guy got me. Very Scooby-Doo-esque. You know what I mean? So,
yo, what? Just what?
You ever seen Little Rascals?
No.
Damn, bro. I was about to say, Little Rascals is the perfect way to describe this movie. It's Little Rascals.
Okay.
So,
never seen Little Rascals.
That's crazy. So, it's crazy. The next scene is Sarah. So that ends right. Sarah Jessica Parker is meets with the aerial girl, and she gives her all her recon work that she's been doing on the Ren dude. So she's been like studying this nigga.
What's his name?
Ren.
Ren.
So she's just telling him everything he knows about him, like his schedule, what he does, all this shit, right? And then they start talking about how bad she wants out of town, the aerial girl.
Mm-hmm.
So a guy walks into a classroom the next day, and Ren's in the classroom like working on something by himself, and he starts giving him shit, right? And then Ren's like, they're talking shit, and then he gives Ren a joint, and Ren's like, yo, I don't want this. He's like, oh, you're gonna take this joint, blah, blah, blah. He's like, man, I don't want it. And right then while he's holding it, a teacher walks in. The teacher's like, hey, what's in your hand? And then Ren takes off running, and the teacher runs after him, and he runs into the bathroom, and then he flushes down the toilet, and then he's like, what was that? And he was like, don't know. Which is like, what can it, like, teacher, you do have him, but you don't
have him.
Because it's like, bro, evidence is a motherfucker. So he's looking at him, he's like, I know you're up to something, I'm gonna get you one day. And then the Ren guy's like, you know what I mean? Like holy shit, that was almost everything. So he goes home, and his uncle, right, when he's home, he's studying, right? His uncle comes up and he's like, you know, a lot of people are talking about drugs at the school lately. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you? And he's like, no, sir. And he's like, seems a lot of people are pointing their finger at you in this town, saying you're causing a lot of trouble, Ren. And then he's like, you know, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, you know, ever since you moved here, he's like, ever since you moved here, you know, a lot of bad things been going on, and I'm not trying to, you know, take the place of your father or anything. And then he goes, yeah, there's no chance of that. And then he storms out. Okay. Now he drives to his job. It's nighttime. And possibly the greatest scene in movie history happens next.
Okay.
He gets there. He's pissed.
Yes.
Hassan, he's mad.
Yes.
Cuts on rock music. Hits the wheel a couple times, right? He lights a cig. And then leans back. 80s music's playing. Hardcore 80s music. And then, like Rocky IV,
Ivan Drago kills him.
Close.
Oh, okay.
He flashes back to everything that's happened to him in the movie so far.
No way.
Yes way.
No way.
Yes
no.
way.
No way.
Yes way.
No way.
Yes way.
All right. Well, keep going. I don't believe it. He's just making stuff up.
Funniest thing I've ever seen to my bro. Like, and I mean everything that's happened so far, okay? And he's pissed, and then he starts drinking a beer, right? And he's drinking this beer, and then he throws it, and then he starts moving that sweet, sexy Kevin Bacon ass.
Yeah.
And the greatest dance scene ever, right? And you feel so trapped and confused, you know? And he's fucking nothing to lose. And he's
at work.
Never, ever, ever, ever. And he's just doing like kicks and bro, he's dancing his heart out. Dancing his heart out. And this is a long scene. Long, okay? And I mean, he's dancing all over the thing, bro. He's doing Spider-Man swings from like ropes on the top of the building, like all the way down to like the first floor, you know, like crazy shit.
Right.
You know, and he's doing all this stuff, backflips and all these cartwheels. And then finally he does like a spring jump like this. And you know, when they show a shot, like it's the same shot, but they show it like 40 times, it's just like, bro, 30 times, same shot.
Can you do it? Yeah, there it is.
Just him jumping, like, you know, over and over and over again.
That's amazing.
Oh, it's amazing, dude. And he's doing like, and then he starts doing gymnast stuff at the work. Like, for some reason, there's a gymnast beam,
right?
You know, so he's able to do his gymnast twirls and lands and. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. And then and then finally right then the aerial girl shows up. And then she's like, what are you doing here? And then he sees her. He's like, what are you doing here? And she's like, watching you, right? And he's like, I thought I was alone. She goes, not in this town, you know? And then
what is this dialogue?
She goes, how come you don't like me? And he goes, what makes you think that? She goes, you never talk to me. You never look at me at school. He goes, because if I did, your boyfriend would kill me with a spoon.
Dude, best dialogue of all time.
She goes, he don't own me, right?
Oh. Wow, yeah. I forgot she's in a relationship.
Yeah, and then he goes, well, he acts like he does. And then she goes, you want to kiss me? And he looks at her, he goes, someday. And then she goes, what's with this someday shit? And he goes, I got a feeling you've kissed a lot of people. And I feel like I just suffer by comparison. And she goes, you don't think much of me, do you? And she goes, you think I'm small town, huh? She goes, I'm going away, you know. I applied to colleges my father don't even know about, you know? And then she goes, he'll come after me, but I'll be long gone by then. And she goes, you want to see something? And he's like, sure. And then she takes him, right, to, she goes, this place is called the Yearbook. She said it started 4 or 5 years ago, I guess.
Wasn't he supposed to be at work?
No, he's at work.
Oh, okay.
No one was there. He's just dancing alone.
He's there at work. Okay, I see what you're saying.
She is stalking him.
Yeah. Okay. I thought he was clocked in, bro. I was like, this is wild.
You thought everyone was working and he was dancing around them?
Well, you said at work. You didn't say at work.
So
like,
funny. Yeah, it's closed. But keep your imagination going.
Yeah. I was like, this is wild, dude. I would be so pissed if I was working with him. He's just like doing this shit. It's like, yo, dude, there's a job to do. Can you imagine if I was seeing people and you were on stage just
jumping?
Yeah.
Spring jumps.
And then I thought she showed up at work and now, oh God. Yeah, dude. For a while I thought he was the worst worker of all time.
So she goes, this place is called the Yearbook. It started 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. And she goes, it's just a bunch of, and she takes him into this like crevice of this like old train spot. Yeah. And then there's writing all over the walls, like everywhere. It's pretty cool, like all over the walls. And she's like, she goes, people came here, just, you know, started writing down all this stuff, like passages from stuff we aren't supposed to read. Right. You know what I mean? Like it's cool stuff. Like, and then she's like, you know, so it's a lot of like songs and poems and all kinds of stuff. And she goes, and some stuff people just made up on their own. And then they read one, and then he goes, oh, it's pretty good. And then she goes, yeah, I wrote that one, right? And she goes, it's not even my best work. And then they stare at each other for a while. And then she goes, they stare at each other for a while, and then she goes, you hear that? Right? And he goes, what? And she goes, the train. And then they go outside and they like see from far away the train's coming, right? And she goes, sometimes, some days, sometimes after football games, we would come down here, and when the train comes out by, we would just make out like crazy. And then he goes, oh yeah? And she's like, yeah. Hey, bro, she is horny as fuck. This girl is like ready to fucking go.
She definitely sounds it. Up. Yeah.
So he goes, or we would just stand and scream. He goes, what? And she goes, come here. And then he does, like he comes over, and then she goes and she gets in front of the train, right? And he's like, hey, don't screw around. And the train's getting closer and closer, and she's just staring at it. And he's like, hey. And then she just starts screaming, like, ah! And then at the last second, he saves her life. Yeah, dude.
Oh, shit, yeah. She's real deal psychopath.
Yeah. So they lay in the grips of passion for a second. Like he's just looking at her, and they're staring, and they look like they're about to kiss, and then they don't. And he's like, come on, I'll take you home. And then he picks her up, right?
God, yeah, the adrenaline rush she needs
to come
to get off is insane.
Makes me really want to fuck her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. Right? She's not a white lady too. But also, she's also a hot ass white lady. So the next day, she gets home and her father is awake, right? And he's like, it's late. And then she's like, oh. And he goes, it's hard to impose a curfew on my congregation when I can't enforce it in my own house. She doesn't say anything. He's like, you've been drinking? And she's like, no. You've been smoking? And she's like, no. She goes, I wasn't drinking or smoking or gambling or reading books I'm not supposed to. She's like, I'm just late, Dad. That's it. And then he goes,
she really closed strong there with that list.
He goes, who are you with? And she was like, I was with Ren McCormick. Don't be with him. He's a troublemaker. He is not. What am I going to do with you? Like it or not, this is it. It doesn't get much better, Dad. And she leaves, which I like. I like that line. I like it or not, this is it. Doesn't get much better, Dad. Like, damn. Well.
Yeah, I guess that's real.
So the next day, Ren is cleaning his car, right? And he's pissed. He's talking to Willard. And he's pissed that he didn't make the gymnast team. Okay? And he's saying it's because the coach says because he's a troublemaker and blah, blah, blah. And then Willard's like, yeah, man, the whole town thinks you have this attitude problem, and you do. And then right then people drive by, and these guys drive by, and they're screaming at Ren, making fun of him because he didn't make the gymnast team. Hey, Ren, heard you didn't make the gymnast team, loser. Ah! And they drive off. And then Ren says, man, those guys don't even go to our school.
Bro, that's comedy. That's real deal comedy. That must have made you laugh out loud.
Of course.
Come on.
Because I was just like, yo, who the fuck?
Come on.
Who is spreading the word like this?
How great is that? How?
That's what I said. Very Ferris Bueller, right?
Great is that? Yeah.
The whole gossiping around. That's what I was like. You know, the 80s stuff that's going on in this is crazy. No phone, no social media, yet niggas from other schools are like, he didn't make the gymnast team? What a dumbass. What? So
gymnastics.
Yeah, you're right. Gymnastics. I'm sorry. Gymnasts. I'm an idiot.
I let you keep saying it because it wasn't worth it, but we're here now.
Willard suggests, like, oh, man, you know what? You should start a nightclub in the church, like that nightclub you were telling me about. And they laugh, right? And then he goes, you know what? That's it. And then Willard's like, what? He's like, that's it. We'll have a dance. We're going to turn this town upside down, baby. Woo! Right? And he starts celebrating. The Willard guy's like, what? So the pastor shows him. He's talking to people at a house, then at school. And then he's giving the same speech to the older folks' home. And he's giving this speech to all these different places, right? The pastor. Right. And he's telling the town how he feels close with the Lord and how he isn't going anywhere and how he's going to be here for this town for a long time. And everybody in the town's like loving it. Like, it's almost like he's running for mayor or some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's given a meeting at his house, right? And he's talking about how they heard the Ren McCormick kid is trying to organize a dance and what they need to do to stop it. While he's giving this speech, the camera pans out the window. His daughter is sneaking out the house. Great shot. Love the you know what I mean, right? Yeah. Just because he's been giving this speech and it's serious, and then as the camera just keeps panning out, you see her coming out the other, like around the house, and then she sneaks by, and then they all get in the car and they leave. You know what I mean?
Right.
And when they get in the car, Ren goes, it's Sarah Jessica, Michelle, her, and him. And then he goes, I'm taking you guys across state lines to show you what you've been missing. You know what I mean? So he takes them to a real bar.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
And everyone's dancing and listening to music, and it's turned up. Everybody's having a great time. And then Sarah Jessica's like, are you going to dance, Willard? He's like, oh, I drink better than I dance. And then the girl, Sarah Jessica's trying to convince him, and he's like, no, I'm going to go grab a beer. And he takes off, right? So Ren says, the girls, I'll be right back. And he goes and he grabs like, hey, what are you doing, man? You crazy? These girls want to dance. And he goes, I can't dance. And then the Ren guy's like, at all? He's like, man, at all. He's like, all right, I got you. And then he goes back and he tells the Sarah Jessica, hey, you should go grab a beer and hang out with him. And she's like, what? And then he grabs Ariel and he goes to the dance floor and they start killing it. Murdering it, bro. All right? And the Sarah Jessica girl's begging the Willard guy to dance. Begging him. And he just won't do it. He's just drinking, right? And then Ariel and them are slow dancing and she's watching and he's just ordering more beer. She's just like sad. Finally, Footloose starts playing. Everybody cut loose, Footloose. And then Ren is just murdering it on the dance floor. Everybody's like, well, this guy's killing it, right? Sarah Jessica, she's watching, she can't wait any longer. She goes out and then she starts dancing with Ren and starts dancing with everybody and everybody's having a great time. And then he's like, Ren's like, oh yeah, like he forgot that she was there almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's dancing with her and like everybody's just killing it. And then Willard's watching and then he's not mad, like he's just like disappointed in himself. And then finally he sees some other guy start dancing with her. Like he's not mad what Ren was, but then some other guy starts dancing. And the other guy's like a fatter guy, like a big fat guy. And Sarah, she's just dancing. She's having a great time. She doesn't care, you know? And he gets pissed. You see it, and he jumps over the thing and he heads down there, right? And then he's like, hey, man, he pushes the guy. Hey, that girl came with me. And then she's like, Willard. And he's like, well, it doesn't look like she's leaving with you, does it, pal? And then he keeps dancing with her, right? Which is a great
line.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah, clearly you got to dance with her, you idiot.
And just let her dance. She's dancing.
Oh, yeah, just let her dance, too.
She's having a great time. You're still going to get to fuck her. Like, she rode with you, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're the one who doesn't want to dance.
Fair.
So
But this is how you ruin it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So, he goes, I guess the Willard guy goes, I guess you didn't hear me the first time. And then she's like, hey, no fights, Willard. I told you, no fights. He's like, all right. And then they go to leave, right? And as they go to leave, he turns and he's like, when's the last time you seen your dick, partner? Like Willard says it to the fat guy. And then he turns to leave. And then the fat guy taps him on the shoulder. Whack! Knocks him the fuck out. Just because he's like a big country guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Thinking?
Also, he's like, man, you the one talking shit. I didn't come up to you. I was also just dancing with her. I wasn't even trying to fuck her.
Yeah. This Willard guy's an idiot.
So, cut to like his next thing, his face is all bloody, nose is bloody, and they're like making fun of him and laughing. He's kind of laughing at himself too, right? So, on the drive home now, they're going over a bridge, and Willard's talking about, oh man, how this bridge always gives him the creeps, makes him scared. And he's like, oh, why is that? And he tells him about 5 years ago, kids are playing highway tag drunk on this bridge, and then they, had gotten into an accident.
Highway tag?
Apparently, like you're hitting each other, like you're bumping each other or some shit. Crazy shit. But they were drunk and fucked up, and apparently, and then they went over the bridge and died. And that's when they started, but he said that's when they started passing all the laws on drinking and dancing and all that stuff. And then she says, and then that's when the Ariel girl says one of those kids was her brother. And that's why her dad is so gung-ho about this shit.
Oh, shit.
Okay?
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck.
So she said ever since then, he feels like he's been the father to the town, and he went completely off the mental deep end, and he personally thinks he's going to save this town and like bring him to the light and resurrection, like since this happened. You know what I mean? Like that's why he's like this.
Okay,
there's a reason.
The father in a very different light.
Lithgow's great. And then because you're watching him, he's never seems like this horrible guy. He just seems
something's off.
Something's a little off.
Yeah.
He's just really committed, And so she goes out and she hates how he thinks she's gonna be this perfect little cherry on top of his like life. Like, well, look how good my daughter. You know what I mean? So, and she's pissed. So it's at a dinner, right? And it's quiet. It's like the next night they're at dinner, right? And it's quiet. And then the pastor's looking at her. He goes, I called Rusty's last night. And then she's quiet, and she goes, and he's just looking at her. He goes, I don't know why you feel like you have to lie to me. And she goes, well, I don't know why you feel like you have to check up on me. Right? And he goes, well, how come? And then he's looking at her. He's like, well, I can't trust you, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, well, how come you aren't interested in me? I love this. She goes, how come you're not interested in me when I'm here? When I'm here, you say nothing to me. But the moment I walk out the door, bam, you're all of a sudden so interested in my life. Great point. You know what I mean? And then she goes, he goes, I don't like that kind of outburst in this house, blah, blah, blah. And then right then the wife goes, hey, I think this should wait till after dinner, blah, blah, blah. And then he looks at her and goes, I'm sick of you always being on her side. And then the daughter goes, of course, you don't listen to me. Why would you even listen to her? And then he slaps the shit out of her.
Oh, damn.
All right? Mm-hmm. And then she storms out.
Yeah.
So the next day, the wife is sitting by herself at the church, and she's sitting in the pews, and she's just kind of looking up at the pulpit, right? And the pastor walks up behind her, and he sits in the pew behind her, and he's like, like leaned forward, right? And he goes, I've never hit anyone in my life. And she's quiet. And he goes, we're losing her, Vi. And then he goes, can't you see that to her? And then she goes, no, because you're chasing and she's running. You know what I mean? You're chasing her away and she's running. Like she's just running from you. That's all. And he's like, she's willful, just like her father. And then he goes, she says, you two used to always talk, be such friends. Used to have so much to talk about. I was almost jealous. She's like, and then he looks at her and he goes, well, it's not that we don't talk. It's just, people run out of things to say. And then she looks at him and then she gets up and she leaves, right? And she stops and she goes, Shaw, 20 years. I've been a minister's wife. I've been quiet, supportive, and unobtrusive. Haven't gotten your way at all. She goes, and after 20 years, I have to admit, you're a wonderful preacher. Best I've ever seen. You can lift a congregation higher than the heavens. She goes, but one-on-one, you really need some work. And she walks off. Good at, and then he kind of looks at her like, fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Good scene.
Oh, the movie has great parts that keep it going through the ridiculousness.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a guy is telling the pastor the pastor's at the school, and a guy is telling the pastor about a book that they found at the school that it should be burned, and blah, blah, blah. They shouldn't have it. And the pastor is saying, hey, whoa, everyone should relax. We shouldn't be burning books. That's not the kind of town we're going to be. Let's not go that far.
Right.
You can tell like he's all about like learning and knowledge. And like he says that, and then you can see the guy is pissed that the pastor's not on his side. Okay.
He's a very nuanced conservative guy.
Well, you can tell it's really just about
dancing.
His son dying. Not even that.
No, it's just about his son dying.
That's what it's about.
This is how he's dealing with it.
This is how he's dealing with it. But I say it gave his character a lot of depth.
Okay.
So the Chad, the Chuck guy, is waiting for Ariel outside a football stadium, right? Mm-hmm. And she comes out and he's like, she calmly goes, I wanted to talk to you. And he goes, don't tell me nothing. I know why you don't call me no more, want to see me no more. I ain't stupid or blind. It's McCormick, isn't it? And then she looks at her and he goes, you're dying to screw him, ain't you? And she just goes, oh, you're so stupid. And then she turns and walks off. And he's like, you just can't wait to wrap your legs around him, can't you? And she turns and she punches him in the face, right? And then he slaps the shit out of her, bro.
Damn, twice.
PG rating for this movie.
Twice.
He now slaps the shit out of her. Okay?
Yeah.
Right? Slaps the shit out of her. And then
well, that one is you did punch him. He's a crazy guy.
Bro. She also she had to punch. You remember he came up on her and was like, "You're gonna just wrap your legs right," and then because he grabbed her and then
I know she grabbed her. Yeah,
he grabbed, like he was just talking shit, and then he
punched him and then she slapped the slip.
What she deserved. I was all about it, man. I wasn't about that. Then he slaps the shit out of her, and I mean like a man.
Oh, okay.
That's not. So it's like no, bro. Like knocks her on her, like she's down on the ground, like rolling. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
not like her dad.
No, dad. It was a parents, like a little pop.
Okay.
You know what I mean? No. This was
he
open hand hit her. He open hand hit her.
He pretty much punched her.
Yeah, open hand hit. Open hand punch from a man.
Yeah.
All right? So, he goes. He's like, and then he goes. He slaps shit out of her, and he goes, "Is this what I get? This what I get? I treated you decent." Spits. I treated you decent, right? Sam was like, I don't know. That's what she goes. I don't know, man.
It doesn't sound like it.
I treated you decent. And he gets in his car, right? She gets up. She runs after him. She takes a pipe out the back of his truck and starts beating his car. Busts the headlights. He's like, hey. And she busts another window and then he grabs her. And then he starts hitting her arms till she drops the pipe. She's like, she's screaming. Bro, this is visceral, by the way.
Yeah.
Rated PG, this movie. This is like, she's like, and she finally drops it. And then he gets on top of her. He's like, oh, you fucking bitch. And like, he's about to hit her. And then she hits him off of her, right? Right? Like she hits him and then he hits her. And now she tries to get away. And then he grabs her by the foot and then he pulls her back on top and fucking wham! Knocks her again, bro. Whack! And then she's like, ow! And then he gets up and he's like, I'm about done with you anyway. And then he gets in his truck and he leaves. And she's just bleeding. You know what I mean? Out of mouth. Eye huge, fucked up. Rated PG. Cut to the next scene. This is how the next scene starts, bro. And I'm not fucking playing with you, bro. Starts with her. She's with Ren. First words out of her mouth. I'm so sorry you have to see me like this. He goes, him. Oh, it's okay. Like, whatever, right? So he's like, I'm kind of sorry this happened to you, right? But not like he's not like mad or anything.
Right?
And then she says to him, oh, I got you a gift. And then she pulls out this box. And she goes, oh, thank you for taking on my father. You have no idea. And then he gets mad, bro. He goes, I got no beef with your father. Oh, this isn't about your father. You can't make this about you. And he starts going off on her. She literally just got beat up maybe 30 minutes ago. He starts going off on her about, this isn't you. This is my fight. This isn't about you and your beef with your old man. And she just immediately starts crying.
What?
And then he starts sweet talking her. Right?
What? Yeah.
And he's like, can I still get the box? Can I get my gift? And then she gives him the gift. He opens it. And then it's like a little musical box.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, this is nice, right? And then he goes, think you might ever finally kiss me? And then he grabs her face. Make out time. Want to kiss to show the people?
No, not this time. No, not this time. Not this time. I think we're real good. I think we're good. I think they get it. I think they get it. So hold on. So we've just completely glossed over the fact that she got her ass beat.
Yep. PG rating. So the pastor and the wife are in bed, right?
It was pretty violent. Like that was a real deal. Like
it's when you see it, it's just as visceral as the opening scene where she's in the car.
The police should have probably been called.
Definitely, the police should have been called.
The police should have definitely been called.
Yeah. So the pastor and the wife.
And he's just gonna be at school again.
Yeah. The pastor and the wife are in bed. They're talking about
revenge. Hopefully.
They're talking about the dance.
Because if they completely forget about it, that's pretty wild.
It's the 80s, baby. They're talking about the dance.
Violence against women? PG, baby.
PG, son. So they're talking about the dance, and he's telling the wife how it's not going to happen. He's like, I know Ariel won't forgive me, but I got to do this, right? Mm-hmm. And then she goes, can you step out your own way long enough to realize that she's doing this for you? She's trying to get your attention. And he goes, oh, I know, but I just know kids dance together so they can become sexually irresponsible. And then she laughs in his face, the wife, right? And then she goes, you talk like that's the only thing that gets people excited. She goes, you remember how we used to get excited just looking at each other? She's like, what are you going to do, poke their eyes out? And he's like, oh, no. And she's like, none of this. She goes, and she looks at him, she goes, honey, none of this will undo one stupid accident. And then he goes, oh, but I'm responsible for the spiritual light in this community. And she goes, you can't be father to everyone. And he turns over. He's like, I thought you would believe in me. And then she's like, I never stopped. Right? It's the end of that scene.
The scenes with them are really good.
Crazy deep, right?
Yeah.
So Ariel and the girls are.
This sounds like this was written by someone who's like really knows relationships well, but has no idea how anything else works.
No, he only knows relationships and dance.
Yeah, and like gymnastics, but other than that,
gymnastics for some reason.
Other than that, he has no idea how like intense the real world actually is.
It's crazy.
Yeah. What?
So Ariel and the girls are trying to get support for everybody to come to the council meeting for Ren and support the school dance, right? And a lot of the kids are some taking it, some talking shit. Mm-hmm. So Ren asks her if her black eye still hurts. She's like, yes.
Mm-hmm. They're so casual about this.
And then they move on. Black eye hurts? Yes. And she goes, were you nervous about your speech? And he's like, yeah, I am, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I don't know what I'm going to say to the council. And then he goes, who else will be there? And she's like, oh, everybody. And then he's like, oh. And then she goes, don't worry, just take a deep breath. And then she gives him a holy Bible, right? And he's like, what's this? And then he opens it and she has all this stuff bookmarked. And he's like, oh, this is great. How did you know where to find all this? And she looks at him. She's like, are you kidding? And then she smiles. And then he goes, I want to tell you something. She's like, what? And he goes, thanks. And then they kiss, right?
Okay.
So.
And her black eye still hurts from the time she got beat up.
Yeah, she got beat up.
Okay, cool. All right, cool.
So.
Cool.
Right then, a guy pulls up outside of Ren's family's house in a truck. It's night. And then they throw a brick through the window. Mm-hmm. And then they get off and they run. And everybody wakes up. They're like, what's going on? And the uncle's like, burn in hell. This thing says burn in hell. What's going on? Ren, you see what's going on with your nonsense, blah, blah, blah. You see what's going on? And then the uncle's going off about how he's been losing business since all this dance shit. And how today his mom Ren's mom got fired because of that. And then Ren's like, what are you talking about? And the mom's like, oh, don't worry about it. He's like, what happened? And he's like, oh, they were talking bad about you at my job. So I told my boss he could shove it. And they fired me. You know what I mean?
This is a lot.
Dude. And then he's like, oh, and then Ren goes, this town, it's like someone's choking them and everyone, he's like, it's like someone's choking everyone and they don't know that they're choking, you know?
Deep.
Yeah. And he talks to his mom and he's like telling his mom all the shit. And then she goes, why don't you talk to me? He's like, oh, I want to tell you everything, but you just won't understand me. And she's like, just try me, son. So he starts talking to her about how his dad left. Now dad left him, right? And how when he did, all he wanted was everything to go back to normal and to bring him back. And that's all he wanted to do, make things right. And then now he realizes how that was all just for shit. But now I know I can do something for me this time. I can do something in my life that makes like sense for me. And then he goes on this whole speech. Bro, this speech makes no sense. This speech makes no fucking, it's so deep and so intense. And it makes zero. I had to rewind it so I could still be like, it was like Rocky when Rocky was talking. I was like, what the fuck is he saying? Bro, I knew what he was saying, and I don't know what he was saying.
He's just saying cliche deep things.
Yeah, dude.
Just one after another.
With Kevin Bacon's face.
I gotta do things for me. Yeah, when were you not doing things for you?
guess, man. Yeah, I don't know. So it cuts to the council meeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's packed.
By the way, any word on his job for the rest of it, or he just has it?
He still has a job.
Okay. Do you ever see him at it, or is it just okay? I was very curious.
Remember when the girl he's working when the girl comes up and challenges him to the tractor race?
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So the council meeting is packed, and they talk about how they won't tolerate any disturbances from the kids, right? And because it's all kids there, and floors open.
Don't they have better things to do? Don't they have like tax money to appropriate?
They did all that stuff first.
Okay.
They like show them doing like the last thing, and then they're like,
I'm glad the movie answered my question.
It did. Yeah, you're gonna watch it because they're answering like I forgot what like tax thing that they're answering.
Yeah.
And then they go before the floor is open. We want respect from the kids. Blah blah blah. All right, floor is open, and then Ren stands up. So that's exactly what happened.
Oh man,
and keep it realistic.
Yeah, me and whoever directed this were on the same page for a little bit.
So Ren said, "I'm here to say the law against dancing should be abolished," and all the kids cheer, right? Mm-hmm. And the pastor goes, "Even if it wasn't a law, which it is, I couldn't endorse with peril something like this. Besides all the liquor and drugs that accompany such events like dancing, he goes, I just can't have that kind of spiritual destruction in the town." And then he goes, and you will find that most of the town already agree with me. And then a bunch of older people like start cheering, right?
Right.
He goes, so let's vote. And then right then Ren goes, wait, but I have something to say. And then everybody drowns him out cheering and blah, blah, blah. And then the pastor's wife shuts everybody up and goes, let's hear what that young boy has to say.
Pastor's wife with the assist.
With the assist, dog. So he goes up to the
dime
mic.
pass.
He goes up to the mic this time to get loud. And he says how he isn't encouraging destruction for the town. People dance in prayer. People would dance in prayer so their crops would be plentiful and hunts would be good. They dance to celebrate showing community spirit. And that's the kind of dancing we're talking about today. He goes, and aren't we told in Psalms 149? And then the pastor looks up like, you know what I mean? Like, what? And he goes, that praise thee, Lord, sing unto the Lord a new song, and let them praise his name in a dance. And wasn't it King David who we read about in Samuel? And what did he do? What did David do? And it was like, he danced. He danced before the Lord with all his might. He leaping and dancing. And then he gets all serious and he says another verse. There's a time to laugh, a time to weep, a time to mourn.
A time to dance. And there's a time to motherfucking dance, man.
Everyone smiles. And then he goes, and there was a time for this law, but no more. This is our time to dance. He said, this is our way of celebrating life. And he says, as it was in the beginning and the way it should be now, right? And some people cheer. So cut back to them at the steel mill. He's working.
Okay.
Just for you.
Okay.
And the boss.
You know what? This question's really good at answering all my logistical questions.
Yeah. So he's back at work the next day. Literally the next day.
Like Titanic couldn't hold up to that, but this can for some reason.
Yeah. Footloose.
Yeah.
Cut loose. Yeah. So, the guy goes, you're a railroader, don't you? And he goes, what? And he looks up, he's talking to his boss, the guy that hired him earlier. Mm. And he goes, you didn't have a prayer. Shaw walked in with the votes in his pocket already. He goes, but if you want, you should have your dance in Basin, like 30 miles down the way. And then he goes, no, it has to be in Beaumont. That's the whole point, so I can prove a point here in this city. And he goes, well, there's a warehouse nearby that's right nearby that actually down the street that is across the line, and it is in Basin. He's like, but it splits it. He's like, so all you got to do is convince the pastor that it's not a spiritual corruption. Maybe it'll work. He looks at him like, maybe, Mm-hmm. So Ariel walks in on her father, and he's at the church. He's practicing his sermon. And then she walks in, she's watching him, and she goes, I used to get a kick out of watching this. And he looks at her, and he goes, and now? And she goes, I see the stage and the costume, and it's all just show business, right? And he goes, well, it's the only way I know how to reach people's emotions, honey. And she goes, well, and he goes, I haven't heard from you since Thursday. She goes, I was angry, and so were you. He goes, I was not angry. He goes, Ariel, I can't let this dance happen. And then she goes, Ren made people think. And he goes, no, he didn't. That music is sinful, and it makes people do things, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes, what? What does it make people do? Fornicate? And he looks at her, he goes like, don't talk like that here. And she goes, I'm not a virgin. He goes, don't you say that. And she goes, what? Great line. She goes, what? I can't confess my sins here at the church to the pastor? And he goes, and he runs down and he grabs her and he's about to start yelling at her. And right when he's about to start yelling, a lady comes in and she goes, Pastor, we've been calling you. Something's going on at the school. They need you. So he rushes down to the school. And the guy from earlier that was complaining about the books he's a huge book burning going. Like a huge, like part of the town is there, and they're burning all these books. Yeah, burn them all. He's going crazy, right? Burning books. And he's like, what's going on? And he stops everybody. He's like, stop this. Who elected you the saviors of the kids of Beaumont? Which is so funny for him to say.
Yeah.
And he goes, when you burn all these, what then? Huh? Satan isn't in these books. He's in here. He's in your hearts.
Burn your hearts. Burn their hearts. That's how you end up killing the kids. Throw them in the fire.
that is how you start a mass suicide.
Yeah, dude. That's how you start. That's how you start a mass event, bro.
So he's like, go home, all of you, and sit in judgment on yourselves. Which is like, dude, how does this guy have the balls to say this?
Right.
And so he makes everyone go home. Everyone goes home, right? And he's looking at him like, how dare they burn books?
Yeah.
Like music is one thing, but books?
Yeah.
So
what a hypocrite. Can you imagine a pastor being a hypocrite?
Dude, I can't imagine. That's what this movie's such a lot. That's the only thing about this movie that's not true is like, I've never seen a hypocrite pastor.
Right?
I mean, dude, when my mom transferred churches when I was 18, I'm sure it was for good reason. You know, we just went to one church our whole lives, and then this pastor got in this weird sex scandal of ours, and then we went to another church, and now she's at that church.
Yeah, there's no way a pastor could get in that sex scandal. What was that supposed sex scandal that didn't happen?
I don't know. Morning Star Baptist Church? I don't know. Anyway. And people think it's the Catholics. It's everybody, baby. Life's a motherfucker. But yeah. Pastors are hypocrites. Oh, boy. What do Muslim pastors do? I'm sure they
probably awful things.
Yeah, ain't no way. Ain't no way if you talking about Muhammad or Buddha or Jesus or whoever the fuck, Mormon niggas, you ain't doing something. Or you doing something.
If I had to guess, probably awful things.
Probably not good things in the name of Allah. Yeah. So, Ariel. So, wait, where are we?
You just got onto the new page. So the pastor told everyone to go home.
Yeah. So it cuts to Ren and the pastor are sitting and they're talking, right, at his house. And he says, Ren says, if you can explain to me about my father, I would explain to you about your son. You know, like saying something like that to him, right? He goes, but it doesn't make sense. None of it does. And then Ren gets up to leave and he goes, I know what you're going to do, but thanks for listening. And then the pastor looks at him and goes, Ren, thank you. Right? And he leaves. So Ariel comes out, she's smiling, and he's like, that was Ren. Came here to ask if he could take you to the senior prom. And she smiles, and he's like, well, I've run out of answers, Ariel. I know it's hard, and I'm not making it easier. And then she goes, I don't know if I believe in everything you believe in, Dad, but I do believe in you. And she gives him a hug and a kiss, right?
Okay.
So at the church, the pastor says, standing before everybody, and he says, I come to you guys with a troubled heart. I've insisted taking responsibility for your lives, but really, I'm just a first-time parent who makes mistakes. And I'm trying to learn from them. And like that parent, I find myself in a moment where I have to decide, do I hold on or do I trust you guys to trust yourselves and let go? And hope you understood some of my lessons. But if we don't start trusting our children, how will they become trustworthy? I'm told the senior class got word of a warehouse and basin nearby for their school dance. Let's look to the Lord to guide them through their dance. And then rock music starts playing, and all the kids start smiling at each other because they're realizing he's, and then he says how it's going to be okay to let the dance happen, right? And then everybody cheers. So, cut to, they're all on motorcycles, all the high school kids. Bro, I don't know where everybody got motorcycles. It doesn't say where everybody got motorcycles, but it shows them going all across town on motorcycles, right? First, it's the 3 boys. Then it's the 3 boys with the 3 girls on the back. Then it's 8 to 10 different kids and 12 different kids on motorcycles. And they all going across town and they pull up to the warehouse, right? And they start setting up for the party. You
can't dance, but here, everybody, have a motorcycle.
Everybody gets a motorcycle.
Everybody.
And a tractor.
Yeah, that they can just joust with freely.
Joust. I like that. Yeah. So they said, they're prepping the warehouse for the dance, right? And as the one girl gets ready, the area girl, the mom tells her how beautiful she is. And then she's like, you can't go to, prom without a corsage. And she gives her a corsage, she gives her a hug. And then Ren sees her when she comes outside and he's floored. And she's like, what's the matter? And he's like, nothing, you're just beautiful. He's like, I mean it, you are beautiful. And then he opens her door for her and then he closes it, but it won't close. And he has to like kick his door full close like it's a beetle. It's like a cute scene, right? So he gets in and like cute 80s music's playing. And at the dance, there's cake and cookies and punch and everything's set up and no one's on the dance floor. Every single person, like it's packed, but everyone's just circled around the dance floor, like staring at each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
And all the shots are so funny because all the shots are straight up out of some nigga Breakfast Club, Top Gun. Those 80 long still shots? Yeah. Where there's long holds on different people.
Someone is standing with one foot in the ground, one foot leaned up against the wall.
Yeah, and they're looking at each other, or a girl like bubblegum doing this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
twirling her hair.
All that. Just long stills of those kind of shots.
Emilio Estevez is in there somewhere.
He's hidden in there. Yeah. You had to find him. And then finally, Rain and Ariel head out to the dance floor and start slow dancing, right? And they encourage everybody to come out, and then everybody kind of slowly does. So the pastor and the wife walk towards the barn, and
why are they coming?
So they get close, and then the pastor goes, no, I don't want to go too close. They'll think we're checking up on, like they'll think I'm checking up on her. And then they walk up, and they just like keep an eye from like a distance, right, for a little bit. And then a guy drives by saying, hey, Reverend, this is a good thing you did, And he's like, thank you. And then he drives off, right? And then she looks at him, and then she goes, she looks at him. Mm-hmm. She's like, Shaw. She's like, Shaw. He's like, what is it? And then he's like, Shaw. And he's like, what is it? And then she looks at him and he's crying, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, what is it? And he's like, it's just the two of us again. And she's like, oh, and she hugs him. And then they're like slow holding each other while you can hear the music playing from a distance. And he's like, Shaw. He's like, what? He's like, we're almost dancing. And then they laugh, right? All their scenes are really nice.
Yeah. It's really
like, all their scenes are real too.
Yeah. It's really off. It puts me off balance.
The movie's really off. It puts you off kilter like that.
Yeah. Because now I know something wild is about to happen.
And also, this is why this movie's so timeless. They just don't make movies like this no more, man. Just this movie where it's kind of just this ridiculous plot.
Yeah, where like it doesn't have to make sense.
It doesn't have to make sense, but you add a heart to it, and you can make people forget that a classic doesn't it can be anything, dude. It can be this.
It's that's the trend right now, right? Is to make everything gritty. Everything is real and gritty,
or everything's colorful and superhero-y.
Yeah.
But they don't make just a movie like this for no reason.
With a crazy premise and
but you add heart to it and you throw some big actors in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you make but we can go on about this forever. So yeah. So Willard and Sarah, Jessica Michelle pull up, right? Mm-hmm. And right then the Chuck guy pulls up and he's like, hey, Willard, you look sweet, don't you? And then they all start kind of making fun of him. And then she looks at Willard. She's like, no fights tonight, Willard. And then he looks at him. He goes, hey, Chuck, no fights tonight, right? I promised her no fights. And then he walks by her and he's like, yeah, no fights. Sure, Willard. And he kicks Willard in the ass. And Willard stops. He's like, hey, man, I just told you no fights tonight, all right? And then a guy punches him in the face, like blindsides him. And then all these dudes start jumping him and beating the shit out of him, beating his ass. And then they're holding this girl. She's screaming, right? And he's like, her name's Rusty. He goes, Rusty, what do you want me to do? And she's like, kick this shit out of him. And he blocks the guy, and then he starts beating the fuck out these guys. Okay? Like a superhero Popeye or some shit.
Yeah, we just talked about superhero movies. It's crazy. Like Popeye.
So he's
But his spinach
have
is
you
his
seen Popeye?
Permission? The movie or like
the movie?
I haven't seen the movie, no.
You've never seen the Popeye movie?
No.
So he like the guy is like, he's fighting him, he's kicking everybody's ass, and then right then Ren runs up, and then the guy goes, hey, McCormick, like the Chuck guy, like, come on. And he's like, oh, you're a real badass when it's 5-1. And he kicks him in the face. Like he jumps down from a platform and like karate Bruce Lee kicks that nigga in the face. And then they start fighting, all out brawl. And it's 2 versus 5.
Yeah.
And they're kind of winning. You know what I mean? Like they're losing, like they're getting hit, but they're winning though.
Yeah, they're doing a good job.
You know what I mean? They're holding, which is a crazy fight scene for high schoolers to have.
Yeah.
At a dance, and nobody's just like, it's just happening. Nobody even notices it, you know?
Right.
So all this fight's breaking out, blah, blah, blah. And then these 2 dudes finally beat the shit out of the rest of the guys. And then the Chuck guy, he has a pipe, right? And he's literally swinging it as hard as he can at the Kevin Bacon character, trying to murder him. It's a steel pipe.
Yeah.
Murder him.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And finally Ren like blocks his hands and then punches him in the face and then hits him one more time and knocks him out. Right?
He blocks the steel pipe with his hand?
Like, no, like he like ducks it and like knocks it out of his hands and then punches him and then hits him one more time and knocks him out.
Okay. This guy who should still be probably in jail for what he did to...
Yeah, he definitely should be in jail.
Yeah.
This guy's a fucking maniac, dude.
And didn't even get detention, really.
Didn't even get... The dad didn't even know about it, dude.
Yeah.
The pastor doesn't even know.
PG,
baby. So he beats the shit out of him and all the girls cheer. Right? So this is how all the girls cheer. So he runs back into the party. Kevin Bacon runs back into the party. Let's dance! Right on his face. Footloose, get loose, kick off your Sunday shoes. Right? And the camera shots in this are amazing because it looks like it's like through a filter, and like the filter would be balloons, if that makes sense. Like, it looks like it's every shot is like through balloons almost, like around the edges of the camera.
Okay.
Like these balloon circles. Like, you know what I mean? Like colorful balloon circles. And there's glitter everywhere, like through the camera. You don't know if it's a filter or it's really glitter. Because if it's really glitter, bro, if you're in that scene, that glitter's still on you. It's that much glitter. It's like, oh, bro, ain't no way. You had that on you for at least the next 2 years, bro. Ain't no way you getting that glitter off you. You know what I'm saying? So that much. It's like falling like rain.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's also through this cool, but it makes the shot look crazy cool.
Right.
And everybody's dancing their ass off in rhythm, in unison. The Willard guy dancing and everybody goes crazy because the Willard dude's like busting moves. You know what I mean? But everybody's dancing so professionally and in unison. It doesn't make any sense. So, they had to practice so long to be doing this. So
all that pent up energy comes out in choreography.
Oh yeah, baby. Yeah. Then a Soul Train line pretty much starts, like, right? You know?
Of course.
And then everybody's like, and these white boys are fucking breakdancing and killing it, dude.
Right.
Murdering it. Then another white boy gets up and he's like doing all the spin shit and he's murdering it. And then finally Kevin Bacon gets in there and he hits these niggas with just all kinds of dope ass. Like when you see it, you're like, yo, Kevin Bacon
can dance.
Oh, for real.
Yeah.
And do gymnast stuff.
Yeah, I forgot.
And do flips and cartwheels and all kind of shit.
Uneven bars and like.
Yeah, I mean, like some of those were clearly like extras, but like some of that was like, oh no, that was him. Like that's it. You can see his face. Like, but yeah, the nigga. I mean, at the end though, bro, he's like doing all these, and then everybody behind him starts doing the moves, and then the credits roll while they show shots of everyone from the movie, and everybody's dancing to the dance. More 80s music's playing. Footloose, everybody. Kick off your Sunday shoes.
Oh, wow, I thought someone was going to die in this movie.
Son did.
Yeah, but I thought we would see someone die.
Yeah, nope.
Well, that makes me happy.
They just showed us women getting hit.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God. But that was a beatdown.
Yo, his was a beatdown. When you see that, you're going to be like, dude, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. And then he doesn't even get in trouble.
No.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You can do that scene now.
No.
You can even do that scene now.
No, because now that scene would be a big part. You can't, like, you know how they just gloss over it?
Yeah.
You couldn't do that scene now and just be like, yeah, we beat the main character's ass a second ago.
Yeah. Anyways, let's dance.
And this guy's invited to the dance, all kind of shit. He was there.
Yeah, man. She really wants to feel something.
Pastor's kid. Hey, pastors, stop fucking kids.
Yeah.
All of you. Not just some.
All of you.
And that includes all religions. I know some of you are like, that is not my religion. Your religion too.
Definitely. If you have a religion, pastors in your religion fuck kids. And don't do that.
Stop.
We'll see you next week.